Huge move yesterday for the New York Jets. They traded Sam Darnold to the Carolina Panthers in a move that I think was necessary. Not only was it right, it is necessary. And the reason I think it's so necessary is because Sam Darnold needed a change of scenery, and the Jets needed to move on even further from Adam Gase. And they really seem to like BYU stud Zach Wilson.
All gas, no brake.
They really seem to like him. Mm-hmm. And Darnold's a kid that I think is really good. If you look at some of his advanced numbers, Adam Gase did terrible things. I saw a comparison to Darnold and Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill, of course, was a pupil, which means student, Jake. Anyway, he was a pupil of Adam Gase in Miami. Disaster. Lands in Smashville with the Titans, and what happens?
Yep.
Explodes and becomes an actual, performing NFL quarterback. Mm-hmm. You look at Darnold, I think he's very much in the same boat. The talent is there. The legs are there. In Carolina, he'll have a better supporting cast. Jury's out on Rule and what that program is in Carolina. We'll find out. He is clearly an upgrade to what the Carolina Panthers have had. And in a division where Tom Brady's 864 years old, Matt Ryan is not getting younger in Atlanta. New Orleans doesn't really have a starting quarterback right now, with all due respect to Taters, I love you, buddy. But that New Orleans doesn't have an established number one QB. This was absolutely the right move for Carolina. But more to the point, what does this allow the New York Jets to do? You have a new regime. You needed a fresh air in the room. This allows you to kind of clean house in totality. You bring in a kid like Zach Wilson. Now this is a guy that you are clearly, on point, on path to draft number 2. Jake, I love this move by the New York Jets. I think it was exactly the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that stands out to me about the move is finally we're seeing the Jets start to play offense instead of start to play defense with how they run their organization. I feel like for so long, the Jets have kind of been in this. I mean, even if you go back to even the Darrelle Revis days, like when it was Gang Green and we had this amazing defense and like everything was awesome and we had Rex Ryan and like in those times, ever since then, they've kind of just been like floating. They've kind of just been like a rudderless ship, kind of just working through life, and so you sign Gaze, you have Darnold, like it just is. They were just, you had the Le'Veon Bell situation. They were just a mess, man. There was just nothing happening. And now I finally feel like you moved on from Gase. Now you've moved on from Sam. Now you've moved on from Le'Veon Bell. Like you've moved on from that era of all those issues and trials and tribulations. And now you're playing offense and you're saying, okay, we like Zach Wilson. We believe in him. We went ahead and got Salah to be our head coach. And we're in a great position. And now what we have to do is we have to have a great draft after Zach Wilson. Obviously, they're going to take him, but like the rest of the draft, you still got to do a good job. And then you got to develop. That's the big difference here. The Jets, they can have a baller draft, but if you don't develop any of these dudes, who cares? Like, who cares? They might as well just be, wasted assets that never did anything for you. You were bad for no reason then if you're not going to develop these guys. And frankly, I feel like the league is begging for the Jets to be like even competitive again. Like think about it this way. When the Giants had some success, everybody was thrilled. If the Jets, the next guy who takes the Jets to the Super Bowl is going to be an absolute hero. And I think we're getting closer to that, where this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think now you start looking at mock drafts and you start kind of projecting forward with what's going to happen. I don't think there's any doubt the Jags are taking Trevor Lawrence at 1. Now I have no doubt that it's going to be Broadway Zach and the New York Jets at number 2. Mm-hmm. I think Mac Jones to the San Francisco 49ers makes a hell of a lot of sense at number 3. I think Trey Lance, the quarterback out of North Dakota State, to the Falcons at number 4 to be the heir apparent to Matt Ryan.
Not many people know about that dude, but I'm telling you, he's going to be a problem in this league.
But here's the other thing, and I know that this is almost taboo and it's very difficult at times in this league. If you draft that quarterback, I think this is your final year with Matt Ryan. Mm-hmm. And I think you have to have the balls to move on from Matt Ryan. You have to do what Carolina did because, let's be honest, Teddy Bridgewater was garbage last year.
Yep.
He was not very good at all. And surprisingly so, and maybe Teddy is just a backup in this league. I think he's talented enough to play in this league. But I think that Teddy Bridgewater was awful last year. if you are the Atlanta Falcons and you truly like Trey Lance on that level, I think you have to be all in on the fact that this is Matt Ryan's final season in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So I think I'm watching that one. Penny Sewell better be the pick for the Cincinnati Bengals at 5. If you are really going to build around, Burrow, Joe Burrow, the local kid, Cincinnati Bengals. My leg got snapped in two because we suck.
Nah, dude.
Penny Sewell's the guy that you better take at number 5, and you go on from there, and then I think you're going to see a run on wide receivers. I would be shocked if Miami did not draft Jalen Waddle. Detroit probably winds up on Jamar Chase. And then it's an interesting question about what the Carolina Panthers do.
Yeah.
Because I think the 8th pick could be fascinating.
Well, it's crucial for them. I mean, they have to. This has to be a good, effective, logical, sound pick for their team. And I think that so often, you can look at around the league, whether, like for our show, you want to look at the Cardinals, let's say, and talk about the fact that they haven't drafted protection in quite some time for their offensive line.
Yeah.
I look at the Panthers and I say, hey, this is all fine and dandy that you just got your new car in Sam Darnold, but if you're not going to protect him, it's over. I mean, you're not doing it.
But I think you're underselling the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Are they still going to draft quarterback at number 8? There's a lot of people who think the Carolina Panthers will be looking at Justin Fields there. Now, I don't happen to be a believer in Justin Fields, especially at number 8, especially after you traded for Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I just am. But you don't write it off. There's a lot of people who think that the Carolina Panthers are going to draft Fields at 8.
What's the logic? Like
because the logic is you're trading for a guy that has not had almost any success at the NFL level in Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you writing that off to Adam Gase and the disaster that is perennially the New York Jets?
Yeah.
Or are you saying, is your mindset, hey, we're taking a risk here? I'd be really surprised if you believe that Darnold's a wreck.
Mm-hmm.
I think you traded for him believing he'd be your starting quarterback. God, that would be really...
to me,
it's a difficult call, man.
The only issue I have with drafting, drafting a quarterback in that slot is that you just went and got Sam, and to go ahead and draft another quarterback like behind him like that, just it does not send a great message to Darnold about who you think he is. And I think that when in this league, when you go out and you get a quarterback not in the draft, like when you make a trade or something like that, it doesn't make sense to go and draft another quarterback. I'm not saying it's dumb, but I just don't think that it, like, again, so we're going to go ahead and trade for a quarterback, then we're going to draft for a quarterback, but then we're going to have defensive issues, we're not going to have protection.
Right, but it's not like you're going to pay 2 top quarterbacks.
Right, but it just, I don't know, man. That just seems silly to me. Like, why if you're going to draft quarterback at that slot, why did you go and get Darnold then? That just doesn't make sense to me.
Because I think Sam Darnold is a guy that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you've had a lot of time to look at Justin Fields. I just don't. Again, I think Fields is more of a risk than Darnold. I that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
But Sam Darnold's a guy that you don't know what his top end looks like.
Yeah.
I also think that you could have 2 quarterbacks there that I don't think happen to be the end of the world, because I think I could be wrong. I think Sam Darnold's only owed $24 million. So if you can pay a quarterback, your starting quarterback, $12 million a year,
that's really good.
I think you'd be thrilled with that. And then you have a guy in Fields on a rookie deal. What's the absolute worst case scenario? You have 2 young quarterbacks and you wind up trading one down the road.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess,
so I don't see it's the end of the world. But here's the problem. Who's your head coach in Carolina?
Mm-hmm.
You hired a guy that I think you have to at some point give him what he needs to run his system. And Matt Rule is a guy that when I look at Rule and I look at where he's been and what he's about, how are you not drafting Patrick Surtain out of Alabama?
Don't get it.
At number 8, I think that feels like the logical pick to me, and I think he's a guy in Matt Rule that really loves defense.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy with a deep defensive background. They need to improve on defense.
Yeah.
That's an organization that has historically been built on defense. Now, they've had good quarterbacks, but when has Carolina ever had an elite quarterback? Kerry Collins in the Super Bowl years?
I mean, Cam Newton for maybe 2 years was really at the top of the game.
Cam Newton has never been, and this is a philosophical thing, and you took the name right out of my mouth with Cam Newton. Cam Newton has never been a prototypical let's go get it done quarterback. But in the biggest moment of his career, he flopped.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I think that when they had him though, like the league was in a place where we wanted to see the mobile quarterback. Like we wanted to see these guys who could run around and like get away from the traditional pocket presence, and I think that is kind of why Cam Newton sort of ascended to the top of the ranks there for a few years. But you're right. I mean, he's never been the guy he's got a hell of an arm. Well, he did. But he never really had touch. He could never really place the ball like right where you'd want it to be. And I think that's why he's never really been able to kind of get over the hump in his career.
He had a year in 2015 that will forever define his career, and justifiably so. Offensive Player of the Year, MVP. Look, I totally understand it. How many times has he thrown for 5,000 yards in his career?
None.
0.
Yeah.
How many times has he been within 1,000 yards of throwing for 5,000 yards in his career?
Yeah.
Once. One time when he was a rookie. How many times? I can go up and down this list. Do you understand that Cam Newton's career completion percentage is 60%? The numbers don't say that this guy is an elite quarterback.
But 60% used to be the threshold. Like now we're pushing it to like 75%, dude.
Because that's what the league demands.
I guess.
That's what quarterbacks have become. He's never been in my opinion, he's never been a gifted quarterback.
That's true. He's been a gifted athlete.
He's been exactly. He's been a physical freak. Yeah. They've never had a guy that throws the ball from the position in a dominant fashion. And it'll be interesting to see, does Sam Darnold turn into that guy? And I'm not sitting here convinced that he's going to.
Right.
But this was a great move by the Carolina Panthers for one simple reason: they have choices.
Yeah.
They knew they had to upgrade. I don't know what they wind up doing with Teddy Bridgewater, but they knew they needed an upgrade there. My feeling is Darnold's their one. Sam Darnold is their one.
Yeah.
Man, if I'm Matt Rule, I am doing everything I can do to get my club to draft probably Surtain at number 8. That'd be my guess. And there's going to be a lot of debate about that.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be interesting to see because let's not forget what this team is. I mean, this team is CMC. This team,
they can be good. They need quarterback play desperately.
Yeah, and if you're not going to be elite offensively, you better be able to stop people.
Yeah.
If I'm the Panthers, what I'm doing at number 8 is I'm drafting defense.
I agree.
But I think it's a fascinating choice they have to make.
Yeah.
And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think that there is so much intrigue in this draft. And if you look at like the 49ers quarterback situation, I mean, plain and simple, if the 49ers truly want to compete in the near term for a Super Bowl, Zach Wilson's your guy.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about them trading up to number 2 to get him.
Well, it's only one spot.
Yeah.
But
it matters.
You're not going to get him now. I think the window on that is closed. By the way, if you wind up sticking with Jimmy Garoppolo, it's not the end of the world here. If I'm the 49ers, I draft Mac Jones.
Yeah.
And I sit him behind Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yep.
Because I again will say, and again, I know this is a philosophical thing, but I think thrusting young quarterbacks into starting roles, Zach Wilson with the Jets,
we'll see.
You're going to sink or swim. And frankly, a lot of people wind up sinking in those situations.
Well, and we see the best of the best have sat behind starters. So, you look at, as much as I hate his mustache, Aaron Rodgers was able to sit behind Brett. Patrick Mahomes was able to sit behind Alex Smith. So a lot of today's great, great quarterbacks were able to sit behind starters. I mean, you even look at Tom Brady. I mean, he was able to sit behind Bledsoe all those years, and then somebody gets hurt, he steps in, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I agree with you. Eric and Raleigh says the Cam Newton Panthers never had great wide receivers. Well, they had one of the best tight ends in the NFL in Greg Olsen. What do you mean, Ted Ginn Jr. wasn't a great wide receiver?
When did he go? He went to the Super Bowl one time, didn't he? Cam Newton, didn't he made one Super Bowl appearance?
Wasn't it 2015?
Was it 2015? I don't remember what year it was.
I'm pretty sure that year that's the 15-1 year where they won the South.
Yeah.
Listen, I think who they lose? They lost to Von Miller in the Broncos in the Super Bowl that year.
Sure. I don't remember.
But anyway, the point is, I look at Cam Newton. Wasn't a bad quarterback. He was never a guy that you were going to build your team around to go win a Super Bowl. That's just not who that guy ever has been.
Yeah, I agree,
or ever will be.
I agree.
I just think that you're not wrong, Eric and Raleigh, that they never had great wide receivers. But they never had a great quarterback either.
Yeah.
They never had a great quarterback. And I just, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Who's going to be better, Zach Wilson or Trevor Lawrence?
I want to say right out of the gate Trevor Lawrence because I think he's probably got more to work with. He's got a better system that kind of plays more to him. Like I think Urban is going to build an offensive system that's going to play to his strengths. My bigger concern is not even that Zach Wilson is somehow second tier to Trevor Lawrence. My main concern is that the Jets are a dumpster fire of an organization and have been for a long time. And I just don't think that they're not getting fair shakes. So it's not like Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson are getting the exact same opportunity. It just comes down to them. I think Trevor Lawrence is stepping into a better situation for his development than Zach is.
Yeah, I would agree. Where Mac Jones or Justin Fields?
Mac Jones, for sure. I would go with Mac Jones. I think he's got a better build. I think he's a prototypical NFL quarterback.
Just stop.
Yeah.
He completed 78% of his passes.
Yeah, but...
Are you kidding me? In Alabama?
Yeah, but...
I want to say that's an
Take
all-time record.
that with a grain of salt, though, dude. Take it with a grain of salt.
A grain of salt? It's 78%.
Yeah, I get it, dude. I get it.
What do you mean a grain of salt?
You can't sit here and say that 78% is like Jesus Christ incarnate and then rip Cam Newton for being 60% for his career. There's reasons why things happen and why they don't. He needs to prove that he can do it.
Cam Newton at Auburn was no Mac Jones at Alabama.
Well, yeah, sure. All I'm saying is that Mac Jones needs to prove that he can do it on a team that's not the best team in the league.
You know what's interesting? Mike Tannenbaum, the former general manager of the Jets, made an interesting comparison.
Mm-hmm.
He compared Mac Jones to Matt Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a really good comparison.
It is. They're not mobile. They can throw it. They're heady quarterbacks. He's smart. I like Mac Jones, but what I'm telling you is that you got to be careful saying, hey, he's going to be amazing because he was 78% at Alabama. The reason a lot of those passes are completed is because of the talent that they have at wide receiver. Those are not somehow
Bro, you still got to put the football on the bro. Why is Tua not a good NFL quarterback?
Yeah.
Why is Mac Jones a better quarterback and will be a better NFL quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa?
Yeah, he's a better quarterback right out of the gate.
I said Tua Tagovailoa hip hurts.
I know.
Okay, I'll move on.
It's my quarterback.
Why are you getting salty?
Because I think that so often we want to go and we want to say, especially about Alabama players, everybody wants to say, oh my God, he did this at Alabama. Well, what else do you think he's going to do, dude? I could roll out of bed and go be a tight end at Alabama and probably get an offer, dude. Come on, bro. These guys have everything that they could possibly need to be successful at Alabama. You've got the best head coach in the game.
Is that their fault?
It's not their fault.
He's
but
still got to go
against
the best talent in football every day.
No. He may be the best defenses. His team is twice as good as those defenses. He's playing with an NFL team. It doesn't matter if it's his fault or not. The fact is that if you're gonna sit here and say, "Oh my God, he was 78% at Alabama," we need to talk about the fact that his teams, the team that he played on, is one of the most dominant teams college football has ever seen, and that's not him carrying the ball club. He's completing the passes. Yes. His wide receivers are well open. Yes,
if it was simply that Mac Jones has huge human beings as an offensive line, elite speed at wide receiver,
which he does,
elite power at running back,
which he does,
the best coach ever,
he does.
Why did every other fucking quarterback at Alabama throw for 78%? Oh, because they're not Mac Jones.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
It's not easy in SEC competition to throw for 70. Let me get the example.
Put Zach Wilson behind that offensive line and see what happens.
Okay.
I'm serious.
I don't disagree with
Put
you.
Trevor Lawrence behind that offensive line. See what happens.
Well, Trevor Lawrence had a better offensive line.
Well,
Did he throw for 78%? Oh, excuse me, 77.4%. Oh, my bad.
you better be ready
Come
to
on.
die on that hill, dude, because he's not throwing for
Come on.
70+% in the NFL his first year.
Okay.
That ain't happening.
Okay. Listen, I think it's very difficult to do what he did. And I think it's very difficult to go from college to the NFL and succeed. I'm not a believer in Trevor Lawrence as an NFL quarterback. We'll see if I'm wrong. I think Mac Jones is a hell of a prospect. And as projections go, I think he projects to be an absolute stud.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it is because he went for 77.4%. The highest completion percentage ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. And if you want a completion percentage like that, all you have to do is subscribe to the Monty Show on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Come on, that was amazing.
It was good. That was a good transition. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, hitting a wide open receiver for a 30-yard completion.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Go look at the throws because not a lot of them are wide open wide receivers.